Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. I do have one quick favor before we get to the video that you came here for, and that is very simply this. You see that little red subscribe button below this video? Go ahead, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. It really does help this channel grow and my audience grow. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And now, here is the video that you came here for. But there was a banana story that came out on Thursday night during the draft that absolutely has to be discussed. And it comes from Miami. And it comes from our old buddy, John Ruiz. You remember John Ruiz? You probably don't remember John Ruiz. So let me set this up because we had a crazy story on Thursday night with players, agents, and boosters arguing publicly through the media, Jeff Borzello and Jonathan Gavoni of ESPN.com. We live in an NIL world now. This is what everybody wanted with NIL, and this is what you got as Miami's best player is now threatening to enter the transfer portal because of the fact that he doesn't believe his NIL deal is good enough. So let me give you a little bit of background, and it starts on Saturday, and I talked about it a little bit earlier in the week on this show. On Saturday, I'm sitting at the USC spring football game when Nigel Pack, one of the top recruits in the transfer portal, commits to Miami. And it was a little bit of a crazy deal. And when I say transfer portal, I mean basketball transfer portal. In case that's not clear, I was at a spring football game, but a basketball story happens. And it was kind of a weird deal because Nigel Pack had been trending to Purdue forever. He's from Indianapolis. You would have thought he was going to go home. And then all of a sudden that morning, it appears as though Miami has come in and has, gotten his commitment. And so the question becomes, what was it about Miami that got Nigel Pack to commit to the Canes? Oh, we found out about 20 minutes later when a Miami booster named John Ruiz put out a tweet that said this: "Congratulations to Nigel Pack. The biggest life wallet deal to date. 2 years, $800,000 total at $400,000 per year plus a car. Congratulations." So for years, we've been wondering, do high school recruits get paid? Do elite transfers get paid? What is the going rate for all of these players? Now we have NIL. What is the going rate for all of these players? And John Ruiz just puts all his dirty laundry right out there in the public. And he says, you know what? I'm paying this kid $400K next year, and we're going to have the time of our lives for the Miami Hurricanes. And the reaction to it was obvious. Some people loved it. Oh, it's so great. These guys are getting paid. This is wonderful. And then there were others that were like, this is kind of weird and creepy. I'm not sure that I like that. And you know what my reaction was? Because I put it out on Twitter. This was my tweet shortly after the news of Nigel Pack's NIL deal coming to fruition. My tweet was, by the way, this is after we find out that this kid's getting paid $400,000 a year. I said, shout out to the Miami assistants who will now take phone calls from every single parent of a player currently on the team demanding their kids get paid next season. Crap, if it were my son, I'd do the same. That was my opinion. I was like, listen, I know enough people in college sports right now. I know for a fact Jimbo Fisher talked about it. Jimbo Fisher talked about it this week. Andy Staples, The Athletic, shared the quotes. I think Jimbo Fisher said it previously. But Jimbo Fisher when the reports came out that Texas A&M was paying $1 million for a recruit for a five-star recruit in this most recent class. Jimbo Fisher's like, you know how many calls I got from parents? Like, if you're paying this kid, when are you going to pay my kid? And Jimbo Fisher, said it's not true. And he actually made a great point. Jimbo Fisher basically said, if I'm going to pay anybody, I got 2 guys that are going to enter the NFL draft. Why don't I just pay them to come back? That makes more sense than paying a 5-star recruit. But when that happened, Jimbo Fisher took a bunch of phone calls. And as soon as I saw this Nigel Pack story, I go, oh my goodness. I would not want to be an assistant coach at Miami right now, in football or in basketball, because you're never going to be able to get a commitment from a kid without a sweet NIL deal. It's just not going to happen. If that was my son, I wouldn't let him go back to Miami and play for nothing. Room and board, screw that. Give me some money, John Ruiz. So what happened on Thursday? Middle of the NFL draft, we're all having a good time, drinking. My team drafted this guy. My team drafted that guy. Jeff Borzello, my guy, I think he's great at what he does. Jonathan Gavoni, I don't know as well. They put out a story where Isaiah Wong, the best player arguably on Miami's Elite Eight team from this past year, he wants his money now. And he says, I led this team to an Elite Eight, and I will enter the transfer portal if you don't sweeten my deal. Here are the exact quotes from the agent of Isaiah Wong, the star basketball player from the University of Miami. If Isaiah and his family don't feel that the NIL number meets their expectations, they will be entering the transfer portal tomorrow, which is Friday, while maintaining his eligibility in the NBA draft and going through the draft process. Isaiah would like to stay at Miami. He had a great season leading his team to the Elite Eight. He has seen what incoming Miami Hurricane basketball players are getting in NIL and would like his NIL to reflect that he was the team leader of an Elite Eight team. So first of all, shout out to this agent, okay? You talk about playing both sides. This agent is Nigel Pack's agent, okay? This guy is Nigel Pack's agent, gets Nigel Pack $400,000. Then he is also this player's agent, and he says, oh, my other guy's not getting enough either. So he gets the guy money just to raise the price up on Isaiah Wong. That's brilliant. That's the smartest business move I've ever seen. But here's where it gets better. Apparently, Isaiah Wong already has an NIL deal with LifeWallet. And here's what John Ruiz texted to ESPN. Isaiah is under contract. Ruiz texted to ESPN. He has been treated well by LifeWallet exceptionally well. If that is what he decides, I wish him well. However, I do not renegotiate. I cannot disclose the amount, but what I can say is that he was treated very fairly. So you have a player getting $400K in Nigel Pack. You have another player that's unhappy that a guy that's never played a minute for the school, well, I led him to an Elite Eight, is getting $400K and he wants more. Then you got the booster saying, we're already taking care of him. We do not renegotiate. What a story. What a, excuse my language, if you're driving in the car with the kids, please turn down the volume, but what a shit show. And what I can tell you is, I told you this was going to happen. Never forget, and this isn't me bragging and patting myself on the back, but when NIL was coming in, I saw all these guys and girls that don't cover college sports. They don't know what's going on. They said, put in NIL. Let these guys make the money. And I said, I don't want guys to get paid, but there's got to be some kind of rules. NFL has a salary cap. NBA has a salary cap. Now, I know people will say, well, there's no cap on how much they can make on endorsements. That's true. But at the same time, we know it's not really about endorsements. It's about pay for play. So first of all, to go back to the most basic question, many of you are going to ask me, well, isn't this pay for play? Isn't this an NCAA rules violation? If he comes back, it's clearly for money. Yeah, it is. But does the NCAA have the teeth to do anything about it? I don't think so. They don't even have a president right now. Mark Emmett retired. But I bring it up to say this is where it was always going to go. And I had somebody who, just let the guys make money. Who cares? Whatever. What are they going to get? $20,000? No. Follow this stuff. I live this stuff 365 days a year. And I said this is going to turn into the Wild Wild West overnight. And that's exactly what happened. And so I think there's some lessons to be learned here. First of all, you never put out the NIL deals because it's never going to make anybody happy. If you're the last player on the bench, even if you're making nothing, you want something, right? If you're the ninth guy at Miami, well, crap, I was still part of that Elite Eight team. I might not want $400K, but I might want $50K. I might want $75K. Am I not worth $75K? Am I not worth $50K? And so what this did, first of all, this guy John Ruiz is a total idiot, okay? A billionaire, okay, he's not an idiot. Smarter than I am. He's got, several more billion in the bank than I do. But this is why you don't put out the terms. Because now everybody wants something. And so to me, I think my biggest takeaway is I don't know how Miami ever recruits a player again without giving him money in NIL. I don't know how, if my son was a 5-star or a 4-star or a 3-star Miami offered, I'm like, that's cool, room and board, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Give me some cash. What are we talking about here? And I told you this was going to happen. I've been saying it since Urban Meyer turned down the Texas job a year and a half ago. I said he's 60 years old, 54 years old. He doesn't want to sit in recruiting meetings. For 30 years, he's been sitting in recruiting meetings. It's about the education. It's about the value of the degree. It's about getting you ready for the NFL. Now you got an agent sitting in there saying, yeah, but what can you do for me? And so, my only real takeaway is what I just said. One, this guy John Ruiz is an idiot. Should have never put out the details publicly. Just let the kid commit, pay the kid whatever. When he gets to campus and he's driving a fancy car, everyone will figure out that he's getting something from you. But once you put it out, now everybody wants that. Now that's the going rate. Now that's the minimum. That's the threshold, right? It's like quarterback money in the NFL. Once one guy gets $40 million, somebody wants 41, whether they're actually better than him or not. And that's where Isaiah Wong is, and now they got to renegotiate. I think it's terrible. I don't think it's good for college sports, but I think it's the reality of where we are. And what I'm most curious about is where do we go? Where do we go if there are not rules and regulations put into place? Again, I'm not anti-NIL, but there's a reason there's a salary cap in the NFL. There's a reason there's a salary cap in the NBA. There's a reason there should have been some sort of cap or limitation or something when it came to this stuff in college sports. Because where is this going? First of all, we know what a going rate for a 5-star quarterback is. It's apparently $8 million. Over 4 years, that's $2 million a year. Not great at math. That ain't going to stay that way. I mean, I don't think Arch Manning is making a decision based on the money. But, I mean, what's Arch Manning worth on the open market? We know $400,000 for a transfer. What about a 5-star? Is he worth more? Is he worth less? Is he worth this? Is he worth that? So to me, we need some sort of regulation. I'm not saying don't give guys money. What I am saying is there have to be rules in place. There have to be regulations. It can't just be people throwing money around, because look what's happening in college basketball right now. We got all sorts of guys just entering the portal just to see if there's money to be made. We got the Baylor Shireman kid from South Dakota State. We're going to talk about him in a minute with Kentucky. Same agent. He's just going in to see how much money he can get. 2 kids from St. Bonaventure. There's a bunch of kids. They're just going in just to see how much money they can get. I'm not saying kids don't deserve money, but is this what we want? Just every year, everybody's a free agent, and this is what it is. People say, this is free agency in college sports. No, it's not free agency in college sports, because every year, every guy isn't a free agent in the NFL every year. You sign Patrick Mahomes to a 7-year deal. He doesn't just come to the table next offseason and say, we're going to renegotiate. So this is the chaos that you wanted. This is the chaos that you got. And my only other thought really in the bigger picture is this. What is the future of college sports in terms of how things are structured? And let me explain what I mean. It used to be a big part of the coach that you signed, like a big part of his job was to recruit, right? Like that's what makes Nick Saban the greatest. He's one of the greatest X's and O's guys ever. He's one of the greatest game planners ever, but he's also a rabid recruiter. Great in the home, great with parents, great with grandparents. He's eating mom's dinner, whatever. Same with John Calipari. Same with Coach K. John Calipari, first day at his press conference, I'm going to recruit the best of the best. That's why they went out and got John Calipari in 2009, because he could bring in players that other people couldn't. Recruiting was his strength, okay? Is that even going to matter anymore? Is that going to matter, or is it going to be kind of like an NFL, NBA structure where you have maybe one person that deals with player personnel and deals with the boosters to rally the money, and then the coach just coaches? Because if where we're going, like think about the situation at Tennessee with the $8 million quarterback. Now, it's clear that was a guy that Tennessee wanted, but was he number one on Josh Heupel's big board? Was that the guy that he definitively wanted, or was that the guy the boosters wanted? And is that where we're going to go? That the boosters, the money people, are going to say, that's the guy that I want, we're going to go get him, and the coach just has to coach him, and the kid just shows up at campus, and the coach is like, well, I guess this is the guy that I'm coaching. I don't know, but that feels like where we're headed really quick. This John Ruiz story is absolutely bananas, but the guy has nobody to blame but himself. All right, let's switch gears and let's discuss